Hey guys, it is Carl Brown from GuitarLessons365.com. I am finishing out all the lessons for Master of Puppets with this one. We're going to finish off Master of Puppets by learning how to play the thing that should not be. So this is going to now complete the album. I'm very proud of myself for this epic accomplishment. So I hope you guys, well now I'll start a playlist that's got all of them in it. So if you just want to learn Master of Puppets from back to front, go check out that playlist. All right, so before I get into it, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I'm going to complete some more albums too. And ring the little notification bell so you know when I release a new video. And check out my Guitar Academy too. It's at GuitarLessons365.com. So GL365 Academy has all my guitar courses in it on improvisation, ear training, guitar tone, technique, you name it. It's a lot of cool stuff in there. So please come and join us there. All right, so let's get into this monster. We are in D standard tuning. Now, I know you'll see people play this in drop D tuning. If you want to do it like the guys in Metallica do it, you got to do it in D standard. Now, what D standard is every string on the guitar is tuned down a whole step, not just the low E string. So we're going to have basically this low E string is down to a D, but the A string is down to a G, the D string down to a C, G string down to an F, B string down to an A, and the high E string down to a D as well. So that will get you same thing they did with Sad But True a little bit later in their career. All right, so let's jump into it now. I'm going to go back to the clean tone here. Clean tone, a little bit of chorus on it. And we have this intro, which is relatively simple to play. All right, so that starts out with just, I'm going to call it an E power chord because I'm not smart enough to translate it down from the tuning. So it looks like an E power chord, so that's what we're going to call it. So E power chord up to the F sharp power chord. So that's not an F sharp power chord. So we have this. So do that a couple times. So the third time you do this, and you do this little melody figure on the A string. So the melody is just going to be from that 4th fret, it's going to go down to 3, and then back to 4, and then to 5. But what he does is he adds a note on the low E string with it. So we go like this. And then when you pick the 3, go back and hit the E string, and then the 4th fret. Still get you're still holding that 2nd fret on the E, so you get to pick that again, and then 5. So this. So this. Repeat. All right, so that whole intro. All right, and then full band kicks in, so let's kick in the distortion. And we have this, which is pretty much the main riff of the song. So I'm going to stop there. because then we do a slight variation on that riff, which I'll get to in a second. So let me just say something about this main riff. The very first time it comes in, it's a little bit different than it's played the rest of the song. We have this. That chord on the 5th string there, the power chord of the C power chord, is hit twice there. And the rest of the song, we're just doing it. You're not really hitting, you're just kind of really hitting them once. But so just at the very beginning, to get that timing worked out for coming in, the full band coming in, they have to do that. So what am I doing? Heavily palm muted. The low E power chord twice, then the 1st fret, and then the 2nd fret power chord. So, all right, and then we're gonna jump over to that C power chord, hit that twice, then jump back to the 2nd fret power chord real quickly, heavily palm muted, and then up to the 4th fret on the A string, back to that 2nd fret power chord muted, then up to the D power chord here on the A string. And they hit that again before they leave and start the riff over. So real slow. Now when we repeat, we don't hit that chord twice. It's just once. All right, so after you've done that 4 times, then we start doing a little variation of it. All right, so that riff right there. So when you're going into it the first time, you can just do it like that. The ending we did before. When you go grab the 3rd fret power chord, you're not going to let it ring too long. You're going to go back and grab that 1st fret to 2nd fret power chords. Then jump back up to the 4th. So it's the same chords. And then that 1, 2 again. So we have this. And now we have the turnaround to start the riff over, and it goes. So that basically what we did is we threw that 1, 2 power chord really heavily palm muted there. And then it basically started like the 1st riff did, which is those 2 open E power chords and then 1, 2. So basically we added this before. So we have this. And then go back and play it the way we just learned. So basically the differences between them. So this. All right, from there we go go to 0, 2 at the very end. After doing it a couple times, that kind of variation, we have this 0, 1, the 1, 2 power chord. And the open E, and he jumps up here and he grabs this riff, which is going to be, it's at the 44-second mark. This is going to be the pre-chorus later in the song. Well, I see it as a pre-chorus. Sounds like a pre-chorus to me. So it looks like this. Later on in the song, when it's actually the pre-chorus, this is still the intro of the track here. This is going to be played twice as long. So you can do this a couple different ways. You can do it just as a bar chord. But I think it's a little bit messy to do it that way. And I think they actually do it this way instead, which is they grab the low note with their thumb. Could be wrong, but I don't know. And then the 9th fret there on the A string. And what you're going to do is you're going to grab these double stops, the 7s on the D and the G string with it as well. So you start by just kind of chugging along on the on the 5th and 6th string, holding that power chord with your thumb and the ring finger. And then you hit those double stops, then back and hit the chord, and then back to the double stops. So it goes. So you don't really have to move anything. Okay, and then what you're going to do is take this and move it down to the 3rd fret. And we're going to start this riff, this part of the riff, with a. You're going to start with a hit on those double stops first. So they'll cross the 3rd fret on the D and the G. And then it's just like we did up here. So instead of going. Now you're going to start with the double stops and then play it like that. Then do the exact same thing you did here, 1 fret higher. So we have this. All right, then take it down to the 1st fret, and you're just going to hit those double stops first, at the 1st fret of the D and the G, and then just grab the F power chord because they kind of hold that. You can hold it like normal. And then we're going to basically go to the verse now by the open E power chord, just like the intro, just with distortion. All right, then the verse is basically that clean riff. There's that little, without clean, which basically just have. Very, very killer. I mean, this song just is killer. So anyway, so we've already learned that clean riff that happens in the intro that goes on there in the verse. So we're just basically playing that, and then it starts building up on this F sharp power chord, and then back to that main riff. So you just do that actually, I think, once that next time around. I got lost there a little bit. Then we're to that, so out of that verse, we get to that riff where we did before. That's at the 1 minute and 31 seconds, this. Repeat it. Right here, that's a little transition riff here. This kind of takes this to kind of a tritone type riff, or what I consider the chorus. So it's at the 1 minute and 48 second mark. So we basically go this power chord off the 2nd fret of the A string. Now I'm doing the full power chord, the 3-note version of it. So 2nd fret on the A, 4th on the D, and 4th on the G. So 2 to 3. Now I will say, when you hear this live and you hear it on the recording, you hear it mostly as an octave. So that octave, I think, is kind of layered. Probably a good way of getting that, since that octave is in the power chord shape already, you do hear this power chord, that middle note there, the 5th. But that octave's in there. So if you have 2 guitar players, you can, in your band, one play the full chorus, and the other one do the octave. All right, so now let's take a look at that, this little riff at the chorus at the 1 minute and 48 second mark. All right, so that is, so after that, those two power chords, you hit the open E chord, open E string really. I know it's a D, but. So we had this low E open, and then you're gonna play the first fret on the A and the D string. Hit those together. So that's a tritone. That's why I'm calling it just a tritone riff, because that's what gives it its dissonant quality. But this is just a fourth that he's playing in the across the D and the A. So hit that twice, then the open A and the open D, and then back to the first fret. So we have this. When you hit the open A and the D, really heavily palm muted, so it's barely there. So. And then you just go back to the regular E power chord and just really just strict downstrokes, really dig in. Killer riff. All right, so basically from the beginning we have so you go like this, 1, 1, 0 the second time around, and go back to this power chords. Then back. Now we're going to extend the power chords. 2, 3, first fret power chord off the low E, and then to the B power chord off the A string. So this, like I said, one of the guitar player can just do that in octaves. And then we're back to the main riff. So it goes through the main riff again, just like we did at the beginning, where it kind of does that variation. All right, and then we're back to the verse. So now the verse happens the exact same way. Pre-chorus, the same little thumb riff, and then the chorus, the same as what we just did. And then that gets to the guitar solo section. So what I'm going to do first is play the rhythm guitar part that happens underneath the solo. Gets a little bit more intricate towards the very end of the solo. So let me play through that real quick for you, and we'll take a look at it. All right, so yeah, at the end it kind of got a little bit interesting there. So, it's all interesting, but it all rocks. But I'll say confusing instead of interesting. So we basically start out with that chorus riff, but not going to the power chords. We just start with the low E hit, and then that 1, 2, 3, 4, and you basically do that pretty much 5 times in a row. Dig in. So this is the 4th time right here. And then this 5th time. So we have basically that 5th time. It's a little bit of a moving little riff in there, meaning that it moves around. Maybe it doesn't move you. But we have what's going on there is whether that's 3-5, heavily palm muted. 3-5 on the low E string. Over to 2 on the A. Then we're going to do a quick little 3-2 on the A, over to 3 on the low E. And then back over to the 3-2 on the A. So we have this. So remember that little riff. because now he's basically going to play that B power chord and then go into that riff again. So far we had this, just remember, the 5th time playing through this. So you see how he did that riff right out. Went into that riff. Then he plays the B power chord and does that riff again. And then we play those two, the B and C power chord, let them ring. And then back to that same riff we just did, starting with the B power chord and that little riff. And then it's back to that chorus. All right, so. All right, so then we get back to, there's this 4 minutes coming, well actually, now we actually get to the solo. So let me actually play the solo for you. That'd be a good idea. And then I'll check out, it's a relatively short solo for Metallica, so a lot of whammy bar stuff, so I'm probably gonna get thrown out of tune. So here we go. All right, so that is it. I'll turn the delay off for you. So we're gonna start this with, now there's a little harmony section in here, but there's obviously a main part that he plays there, and then the harmony line really kind of low in the mix. So I'm just gonna really focus on what he does, what he would do live really there. The main harmony lick there. Which I'm not even sure if he plays exactly that way live anymore, but it's what's on the record. So let's start here with this. It's gonna basically be up in, this is based out of E, just F sharp minor pentatonic. So just do a trill between 14 and 17 on the B. And he's doing, just hitting his whammy bar, doing a lot of bar flutters where you basically dip it and then let the bar just snap back. And it creates that crazy little flutter sound. And then you hear him hit this note real quick on the D string, on the 17th fret, and then slide into the 21st fret there on the B. All right, and now we have this lick. Phrygian dominant. People love it when Kirk does that. So what's going on? We're gonna, now live I think he does a lot of just kind of legatos it, but picking the top note each time. I think on the recording, you can hear him actually pick a lot. So do it whatever way you want. It sounds great either way. So he starts it on the E. You hear a couple of, he's getting that alternate picking going. A couple of hits on that. And then he plays 16, 13, 12 repeated. Just alternate pick it, or like I say, pick 16 and pull off. Whichever one you think sounds better. And he just resolves that to the 15th fret bend, and then just play 15 with some normal barbells. And now here we have the section that is where the little harmony line comes in. I'm going to do the main harmony part and not that little extra one that's really low in the mix. So we have this. So this one's very odd sounding, especially how it's harmonizing. It can mess with your ear a little bit. So it really took me kind of really slowing it down and listening to it and kind of separating it from the other parts. So we have this. So we're going to start with, you can hammer on if you want. I like to pick it, but 11-12 on the G, 11-12 on the B, and then 11-12 on the high E. And then what we have here is going to play those notes again. Go to quick little, this time you will going to pick 11, hammer on 12, and pull back off to 11. So it's then you're going to go back down, you're going to descend, and this is when he starts mixing things up. He starts with the normal note that we came up with. So 12-11 on the B. Then he starts moving it around. 13-12 on the G. 14-13 on the D. 15-14 on the A. 16-15 on the low E. So wait this. Up to speed. So very cool lick, but a little bit challenging and moves across the fretboard a pretty weird way. So, and here we have it's a slight bar. You kind of pull the bar up slightly with the open G, and then do a big bar die with it. And then we go back to that 16-13-12 lick. And just this way, you're just going to do it all legato. So you're going to pick 16, pull off 13, pull off 12, hammer back on that 16. So while he does that, he slowly pushes the bar down. And then there's a quick slide to the 17th fret on the B. And then a lot of whammy bar work on the 14th fret there on the G. All right, now coming out of the solo, we have this variation, this riff at the 4-minute and 12-second mark, which is kind of a variation on the main riff that we did before. So it's basically the riff we did before that kind of moved around a little bit. Except when you're going to the chords on the power chords that happen on the 5th string, you're going to hit them twice instead of just once. So you do that 4 times. Now over that we have kind of this more whammy bar kind of atmospheric. It's not recreatable. It's just kind of Kirk just creating a lot of noise. When you see him play it live, he's just kind of doing a bunch of bar dives and harmonics and kind of playing some notes and letting them ring out. So he might have something he does these days, but it's really just effects. So basically do whatever you want there. You're just trying to create noise with whammy bars. He might even be using a slide sometimes on the strings in the studio just to kind of create those kind of ethereal effects. But that's what's going on over that riff. And we get back to the same verse that we did for earlier in the song, back to the same pre-chorus, and back to the chorus. And then we have the normal chorus, but then we have that riff real quick that we did with the little, we played the B chord. That kind of thing. We do that riff. And then we go back to the chorus riff and you're just kind of jamming on that. As it fades out. So that is the end of the track, and that is the end of the brilliant album Master of Puppets. We have covered it all. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to create a playlist with all these in order, so now you can just kind of crank on doing the whole entire album in sequence. It's going to be great. And I'm going to work on finishing some other Metallica albums probably too, and some other great albums. So give me some ideas in the comments if you see specific albums finished. All right, I'll see you guys again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.